Thanks, Craig.
If you microwave a grape, it causes a little lightning storm. That's
Okay.
not a metaphor. That's just a thing that happens, and no one's doing anything about it.
When you say a grape,
A
are we
grape.
talking like a crepe or a grape?
A grape, the fruit.
Okay. I'm still not sure how either would conduct electricity, but here we are.
I don't know. It just creates plasma.
There you
It
go.
actually does.
I haven't experimented with this, but
I don't recommend it.
I'm curious as to know what the scientific process is that sets that off.
Well, many a microwave has died finding out.
Okay, good to know.
So don't try this at home, kids.
Unless you want to be shelling out for a new microwave.
First thing we do when we come back on Total Bear Looney after months of absence is break everybody's microwave. And then we dip out again for another 6 months.
Exactly. Where have we been?
Dead.
Yeah.
Probably. What about you? Where have you been? You've been some interesting
I've been
places.
here, I've been there. As you will know by now, I've been over to Japan and South Korea.
How was that?
That was great. I've kept that one under my hat. But yes, a good friend of ours joined me, and we went, on a nice little jaunt around 2 different countries. The lovely Heidi from Trans-Australian Coaster Channel. So that will make up season 2 of Ejector Beartime.
Imagine that. Announcing season 2 of Ejector Beartime before GTA 6. That's incredible.
The audacity.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah, it was good. We suffered some, it was not without hiccups, but we made it through the other side.
All the best international trips have hiccups.
Absolutely.
Part of the adventure.
But yeah, by the time this episode drops, which I don't even know if we've discussed this, but yeah, I'm assuming the trailer will be out by then. Yes, I don't know when we're dropping this.
I don't know when we're dropping this.
We could drop it another 6 months from now. Who knows?
By the time we drop this, all of the information in this podcast will be completely incorrect.
Exactly.
And outdated.
That's just how we roll.
What was the worst roller coaster you went on in your Japan, South Korea trip?
I can tell you exactly which was the worst roller coaster I went on. And actually, it's a toss-up between Family Banana Coaster at Yokohama Cosmo World.
Oh.
Fuck that banana coaster. And Black Hole 2000.
I was excited about it because of bananas.
It looks nice from the outside. It is not meant for grown human beings.
Ah.
And, like that's not it taking into account if you're even remotely large either. Just if you have legs that are beyond the size of a child's legs, you are not going to have a good time. I was very surprised getting off that my ankles were not broken.
Damn. What was the second one it was a toss-up with?
Black Hole 2000 at Soul Land.
Now that one I can relate to.
That was not fun.
Yeah, that ride. That ride.
I didn't expect the restraints on that to progressively smash you as the ride keeps going on. I thought that, once you left the station, that the restraints, that would just be how locked in they were. But no, they keep going down with every piece of force that you go through. And it was painful.
That ride is like being in an abusive relationship with a baseball bat.
100%.
It is awful. And I would
Like,
like
we
to
were like, oh,
my visit to Soulland was during the winter. So the log flume was not open. Columbia Double Loop was down for maintenance. And
it was for us too.
the rides like progressively opened throughout the day, and Black Hole 2000 was one of the only things that was open when the park opened. So
Yeah.
I rode that thing, I think 3 or 4 times because
Oh,
I
why would you
simply
put
had
yourself
nothing
through
else to do.
Oh,
And
I would have rode the kiddie coasters again more than I'd ride that again.
even the kiddie coasters were not open. I think I rode Black Hole 2000 the first, I think, 3 times while I was waiting for Tobot Train to open.
Yeah.
And then Tiki Tok Train opened later, and then Crazy Mouse opened.
Crazy Mouse opened late for us as well.
Yeah. It was like lunchtime before Crazy Mouse opened for me, which also is just one of the most bizarre roller coasters ever.
Isn't it just?
It's so weird. Who thought of that?
And, with the name, I thought it was just going to be another Wild Mouse. Oh, no, it is not. It is just this weird, smooshed in roller coaster with. I don't even know what kind of track it looks like.
Did you get a look in the operator's box by any chance?
I don't recall. I was just mostly paying attention to the design of the cars themselves.
So yeah,
Why do you ask?
well, so obviously everything about this coaster from the outside is just very weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I was during my visit, I was taking photos of it and sending it to another coaster enthusiast friend and being like, "What the hell is this thing?" And I happened to take a glance into the operator's box, and the control panel, not a single one of the buttons looks like it was designed by the same company.
Like it was
Looks like
just sort of, Frankenstein together from various Radio Shack pieces.
it looks like they went to a bunch of stores and all of those stores only had one button left in stock. They just had to keep sourcing buttons from
Jerry
everywhere.
rigging it together.
It looked insanely, yeah, like the Frankenstein's monster of ride control panels. It was bizarre. And that's when I was actually slightly alarmed about that ride because I was like, "Oh, that's concerning." I feel like I'm about to ride something that was thrown together with scrap parts. It's a weird ride, almost comedically.
It's a weird park.
It's a very weird park. I actually really enjoyed my day there, despite the fact that I don't think I can name one ride that I thought was good.
Like at this point, I wish we had done the Flume ride because we sort of ran out of steam by the time we'd done all of the coasters. Columbia Double Loop was down as well. So it was just the 4 coasters we got on.
We've both missed Columbia Double Loop.
Yeah.
It doesn't look fantastic, I'm just gonna say.
It doesn't, but it also looked like it was the best coaster there.
Probably.
But yeah, it was just very odd. A very odd park. There was this one ride where it was like these 2 little characters looked like they were suffering existential terror.
That sounds like Soulland.
Yeah.
Sounds like
all of the little mascots looked like they were suffering from existential terror.
It might have been actually me at Soulland. I'm pretty sure I was suffering existential terror.
But yeah, it was a really good trip. Highs and lows, which you will see snippets of in the trailer, which should be out by the time this drops. And I'm saying that mostly so I have to commit to a release date. So
Not that we even know this podcast episode's release date, so that doesn't
Yeah.
help you in any way.
No, not at all. But I'm putting it out into the universe that it will be dropping. I just don't know when.
It's gonna happen at some point.
It will.
Kind of like me
But you
returning
know,
to
I did
YouTube.
17 episodes. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let's not.
Okay, sure.
No. I've just
I'm
been enjoying.
fine indulging my narcissism and talking about myself.
No, well, I don't have a whole lot to say about it actually. I've just been enjoying not being
Yeah.
a creator.
That's the thing. It's
very
there's-
nice to live.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing now saying this that I sound like the most pretentious person ever because I'm really not that big of a creator or anything like that.
I think you need to have experienced being a creator to understand that feeling of burnout.
Yeah. And a lot of it came back to two things really, which was what I'm going to call parasocial relationships.
Lack of boundaries.
Yeah, a lot of lack of boundaries, I think. Some of which, it's kind of understandable in a way. I have a Discord, I have an Instagram, I have all of that sort of thing. People kind of feel like maybe they are entitled to message me and demand a particular type of video or tell me how they disagree with my review of a particular coaster and demand my time and attention and get upset when I don't respond because I have a life. And I was sick of that. And then I was also just sick of putting out videos about a thing that I love and getting entire forums made about how shit of a human being I am. Which is not a nice feeling,
No.
It's very, and I get that probably all came from a nice place of just disagreement and wanting to have discourse on that. But
Sometimes it turns nasty.
Yeah, you put a lot of time and energy into something, and then you get people going after you and releasing the hounds and everything, and it's kind of to me, look, I feel like it was stewing up for a while that it was eventually going to happen, that I was just going to be like, what's the point?
Yeah,
I started this as a creative outlet, do something fun, have a bit of fun, and now here I am, and I'm obsessed with the analytics and constantly reading the comments, and all of them are making me miserable. So why would I do it? I've got a full-time job, I've got a dog, I've got a nice place to live, I've got friends and hobbies and all of that sort of stuff outside of YouTube, so I just left.
Yep.
And it's been a good decision for me. I've had a good time.
It's a very big reason why I put so many boundaries up as far as being a creator goes. It's I try I keep I keep a distance between myself and
which is a lesson I need to learn.
Yeah.
And that I have learned and that I will be carrying forward. Pretty much no one will decide anything about what happens on my channel except for me anymore. And I probably won't even read very many comments anymore. Yeah, just setting those walls up, and learning to love YouTube again as a creative outlet that it was supposed to be, not the I'm trying to draw the distinction between YouTube as a place for creativity and YouTube as a social media platform. Because I don't like social media, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a social media grandpa. I don't have any Meta accounts. Yeah, despite that everyone telling me that I need to in order to become a successful creator, but no. I've got
yeah.
YouTube and I've got my little Blue Sky Ejector Beartime account, and that's what I'm happy with as far as sharing myself with my audience goes.
It's an interesting feeling to realize that you actually don't want to be a content creator.
There's a difference between wanting to be famous
Mm,
and wanting to create. And
exactly.
unfortunately, in order to feed that sort of algorithm in what makes your videos successful is you've got to build an audience, and with that comes recognition and whatnot, and a level of I don't know if you want to call it fame, but
Well, yeah, and I
staying
suppose
in.
there's nice aspects to the fame side of it as well. Again,
Yeah,
quote unquote fame.
yeah.
Um, like
Um,
I met a lovely family of people up at Dreamworld who recognized me, and that was really really nice. And I had a great conversation with them, and those were the moments where I really was thankful for what I had. Um, yeah, but I think the negatives outweighed the positives a lot of the time, and I just want to strip it back to doing it for what I wanted, what I love, and what I want to do it for.
Absolutely. We're not the only creators to have suffered burnout. One very prominent creator that has just announced that they no longer want to do coaster content creation. Um, Adventures with Alex said they're
Yeah,
done being a coaster creator.
honestly, that one surprised me.
I know
I
they were going through it, but
Yeah,
it's
that one did
what I
surprise me.
appreciated was something that he mentioned about feeling like he self-censored a lot because he was making content for all ages, and he is sick of doing that. And
Mm,
I congratulate him on that, and I sort of want to take a leaf out of that book because I self-censor and tone down my own gayness and, adult humor to make my content accessible to a wider audience. And roller coasters skew to a younger crowd, but that's not who I necessarily create for, and nor do I want to create for. Um, and censor myself.
yeah,
If anything, I probably create for people's rather than sort of kids, I create for their millennial parents. um,
yeah. If it's a part of your personality or like part of who you identify as or a part of your or who you want to be on the
yeah,
internet, then you absolutely should not have to censor it.
yeah. I swear like a sailor. I have a filthy sense of humor, but I don't show that on my channel because you've got to keep it palatable and you know family friendly because
Hmm.
only kids watch roller coaster videos apparently.
I've managed to get away with a fair bit myself in terms of like the swearing and the adult humor that I think is just kind of part of my normal sense of humor and my normal personality. But there is, yeah, absolutely a certain expectation that like what I make should be palatable to an audience of basically kids, and I don't think I've ever wanted my channel to be for kids.
Yeah.
Um,
That
yeah,
it's just sort of this expected kind of thing just to the nature of the content. After sort of hearing Alex's video talking about how he's over coaster content creation, and doesn't want to censor that part of himself, I am in agreement, and I sort of don't want to do that either. You
yeah,
know, if parents see my channel and think that my content is inappropriate for their kids to watch, that's their role as parents to monitor the content their children watch. It is not
are
up to me as a creator to censor myself.
we having the Sabrina Carpenter debate?
Are we? I don't know.
Oh, maybe Sabrina Carpenter's a little bit too
Is this
I don't
about her
know.
album cover or something?
Yeah, so it goes back beyond her new album cover, but her new album cover is was one thing that came out that caused a whole lot of controversy. Her previous album, Short and Sweet, was full of songs that are just mildly explicit, honestly. Like, not even that bad. They're about sex, but what artist isn't writing songs about sex nowadays?
Yeah.
And then she's obviously released her new single, Man Child, which is a banger. And then she's just released the album cover for her new upcoming album, and it's essentially her on her hands and knees with a man holding a fistful of her hair, and it's called Man's Best Friend. So obviously, dog metaphor, dog imagery.
But
And
also, this appears to be a consensual pose by the looks of things.
It is a consensual pose, as far as we're aware. And, well, obviously she's the one publishing it, so obviously it is. And immediate outrage about either the sexual nature of it or whether it was, I guess, belittling of women. But I think, look, I'm a big Sabrina Carpenter fan, and I would say that one of the things that she has constantly dealt with throughout her career is the fact that she was like a Disney child star, and she's now creating pop music that has explicit content, talks about sex, swears, is just generally for adults.
Yeah.
And people seem to have a lot of difficulty kind of dealing with that and saying, okay, well, maybe Sabrina Carpenter is no longer for kids. And I feel
And
a lot
that's
of sympathy
okay.
for her in that she doesn't
You can
seem to
decide
get...
that you want to change who you're creating for.
Yeah, she's creating for adults. And there's all of this outrage, and there's always constantly all these comments on like the Juno poses that she does in her concerts and stuff. Like, oh, why is she doing this degenerate rubbish? Kids watch her. It's like, well, don't...
Can the Helen Lovejoys take a chill pill?
Yeah, don't let your kids watch her then.
Yeah. I've never marked any of my videos as YouTube for kids.
No.
If you
No,
are
God,
concerned with your children consuming certain content, only give them a YouTube Kids account.
yeah. And honestly,
Problem
monitor
solved.
your kids' consumption of media.
Yeah.
It should be something that you should be doing anyway, not just
That
because
is
of
the
swearing,
role
but because
of
of like...
parent.
Yeah, like...
It is
the
not
amount
up to content creators to censor themselves. You don't get to just watch the YouTubes and think that comes with just everyone being G-rated content.
It's the iPad kid generation. They all just want
Totally.
to put their kids in front of an iPad and then not have to pay attention to them for a couple of hours because they're entertained.
Yeah.
And they're outraged that, maybe if I am leaving my kid unsupervised on an iPad, they might stumble across something that I don't want them to see.
Or that is not meant for them.
Everyone's coming to the realization that, oh, actually, no, I still do have to watch my kids.
Funny that.
Yeah, shocking.
But yes, not to get on my high horse about it, but yeah, I am in agreement with Alex in not wanting to have to censor oneself as a content creator anymore.
Yes.
I've felt pretty good about keeping my boundaries up and not having to, so far have any kind of issues with people overstepping those boundaries. But yeah, I was filming season 2 and kept trying to stop myself from making, jokes that were fun for adults, but not necessarily for kids. And, I feel like it's not me, like, not making those jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it feels inauthentic to me to be so sanitized.
And so you shouldn't.
So yeah, I'm sort of over it. And obviously all of season 2 is in the can now, but I've decided I'm if I want to make a joke, I'm going to put it in.
Mm.
You know, as long as it, doesn't punch down at anyone. But yeah, swearing and filthy humor, it's all going in. So buckle up, buttercups.
I think the way that I want to say what to expect from me going forward, the old Maloney's Coasters is dead. Long live Maloney's Coasters.
Woo!
Yeah. And I think the last thing that I want to say on this before I leave it behind, because I do not want to have this emotional journey that I've had to go on as a creator be a public emotional journey. I do not, I have my reasons for everything that I've said and done and decided to do going forward. And it's a big part of my growth as a person that a lot of that will stay private. I'm learning to keep a lot of that private. But
boundaries are fun and we should have them.
We should. The last thing that I will say is that I thought it was very telling that when I made the decision that, you know what I need to do? I need to take down a lot of my content. I need to scale back my channel to just the stuff that I love. And I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm turning it all onto private. And I'm backing off and I'm not going to upload. And I'm just going to leave the stuff there that I'm really proud of. Immediately, some of the response that I got was just, where is it? What have you done? Why did you do that? How dare you?
How dare you not be accessible?
Yeah. And I think that immediately, as much as it kind of angered and upset me a little bit, it kind of confirmed my decision. So I was like, I don't do this for you.
Yeah.
This isn't for you. This doesn't belong to you. It's not.
Not everybody deserves 100% of your time.
Yeah. And I don't owe anybody anything.
And we are thankful to the people who want to follow us and who support our content. But, we don't necessarily owe people explanations
I don't have to,
or content.
I don't owe anybody anything. And I was a little bit saddened that was the response because, that's kind of what I took a step back to avoid. And I was hoping maybe I would get a response that would tell me, maybe things aren't as bad as you think they are. But I kind of got a response that showed me, no, actually, you kind of did get a little bit too close and attached to some people in this community, and you do have a relationship with this where you feel like you owe people videos constantly. And yeah, I'm very glad that I decided to do that, and I'm very glad that I took a step back and said, nope, I don't owe anybody anything on any time frame. I can upload whenever I want. I can upload what I want. And whoever's along for the ride is along for the ride.
Amen.
Hell yeah. Let's go back to the happy podcast that we usually have.
Let's.
Did you ever realize that soup is just wet salad?
Is it wet salad or is it umami drink?
Umami drink. No, because it has bits in it.
Yeah. It's a cocktail, really.
I suppose some cocktails have bits in it.
I mean,
Or
a
that
Bloody
orange
Mary is
juice
just a
that no one
gazpacho with
likes.
vodka.
I'm having to learn how to make Swiss cocktails at the moment. Context, I'm having a party.
I'm assuming,
Yeah.
Yeah, with some Swiss theming.
Yes, I'm having a Swiss themed party. And yeah, I'm making some Swiss cocktails. Also, mulled
I'm assuming
wine.
there are some chocolate-based ones.
Yes, there are some chocolate-based
Um,
ones.
I'm trying to think of what else is Swiss cheese. You can't really have a cheese cocktail. What else do I know about Switzerland? Chocolate, cheese,
there's a couple that
bank
I want to
accounts.
make. A white Swiss
Ooh, like a green
martini.
cocktail for the. Oh,
It's a white chocolate liqueur with vodka, cream, and rimmed with shaved chocolate.
oh wow.
Yeah. I've been discussing costume options today as well
Yep.
about what everybody's going
What?
as. I have a friend who's coming as a cow,
Nice.
friend who's coming as Swiss cheese,
Lovely.
which was my idea and they stole it. I'm going.
Knowingly or
Oh, I don't think knowingly. But once I knew someone else was coming as Swiss cheese, I couldn't have that.
you had to pivot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going as a violation of the Geneva Convention.
Oh, I could have said so many things right now, but I will refrain.
Well, essentially, all I'm going to do is get a white morph suit with no mask on it because I want to be able to breathe, and paint a red cross on the front because
Okay.
it is the Geneva Convention says that you can't use the Red Cross
Okay.
because unless you are the Red Cross,
Right.
because otherwise you could pretend to be a medic and
Okay.
use that for malicious purposes. So I'm going to go in just a white morph suit with a red cross on the front and be a violation of the Geneva Convention.
Nice.
And that's my Switzerland themed costume.
I'm sure there will be people coming as, Swiss milkmaids and bank accounts and fondue sets.
I've been trying to find people some ideas because I've got some very creative friends and some friends who are like, I don't even know what Switzerland has. Mountains?
The Alps, yeah.
Cobra. They could go as Cobra.
Cobra.
Connieland.
The roller coaster, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Connieland. That roller coaster sucks.
Who are the Von Trapps? Were they Swiss or were they Austrian?
No, Austrian.
Ah, okay.
We did have that conversation as well. Some of my friends wanted to the whole Sound of Music bit.
Well, you what's Heidi? Is that Swiss with her grandpapa? The story?
It is.
What else is Swiss?
Swiss things. Let us know a Swiss thing in the comments.
Swiss Family Robinson.
Ooh.
One of the more racially insensitive Disney movies.
Yeah. And there are so many.
I rewatched that in the last year, and dear Lord, is it insensitive. And actually, it's plain racist,
Speaking of racist, I was actually asking ChatGPT for some Swiss costume ideas today.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just because, give us some ideas. And I was at first alarmed because I asked for funny Swiss costume ideas because I wanted to do something, a little bit funny. And
Sure.
at first it was normal. It was like go as a human fondue set or a sexy Swiss watch. Yeah. And then it asked me to go as the après ski disaster, which it turns out was a disaster where a ski lift collapsed and injured many people. And I was like, that's not funny. And then it asked me to go as a Toblerone, which it recommended. This is a direct quote from ChatGPT. The way to dress as Toblerone would be to dress as a
Oh, I can see
triangle,
where this is going.
and paint yourself brown with gold wrapping.
You could have done that costume without that. That's not necessary.
Paint yourself. ChatGPT told me to paint myself brown. And I'm just gonna. I assume everyone knows
we're not doing that.
that that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, kids.
No,
Don't
bad
do it.
idea. Yeah, so ChatGPT is in my bad books for today.
Oh, among many other reasons.
Oh, 100.
The plagiarism machine.
Just another another addition to the list.
The water draining, air polluting plagiarism machine.
Yes, and now also apparently recommending I do blackface.
Racist.
Mm-hmm.
Just really adding to the list there of things going for ChatGPT right there.
Yeah, they're doing a great job over there at ChatGPT. Anyway.
Anywho. Oh.
Decided
What's
that all
next
wooden
on-
coasters are haunted.
See, I'm down for this kind of content. Sign me up.
They're all haunted.
You've seen my bookshelf in all of my videos with it. It's just full of ghost books. Ghosts is one of my other hyperfixations.
What are your other hyperfixations?
Oh, you know. For a long time I was obsessed with hot sauce, and I had like a subscription to that Hot Ones Heatonist Hot Sauce of the Month club, and I had like what seemed like 36 different bottles of hot sauce, and then I just realized I can't consume that much capsaicin without, how do I delicately phrase this? Being exclusively top only. Let's just put it that way. Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. Hashtag no bottoming. But yes, but it was during lockdown, I believe, where actually it was pre-lockdown, because I was getting deliveries while I was at a previous job. Yeah.
Do you watch Hot Ones?
Yes, I do. That's where it all started.
Yeah. Okay, so it started with Hot Ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it started with Sriracha. And me being obsessed with Sriracha before it had really gained popularity here in Australia. Well, amongst, regular sort of white bread Australians. Obviously, it was very popular in like pho restaurants and whatnot. But I don't think you'd be able to, at the time when I was obsessed with it, that your average person knew what it was. And yeah. And then that sort of kickstarted my love of spicy stuff. And then I just got into Hot Ones, and then, yeah, started exploring different kinds of chilies and what I liked about his hot sauces, and what particular flavors were better than others. And knowing that De Bomb is not meant for human consumption.
That's the one that they use on Hot Ones, isn't it?
It is. It's the number 8 sauce and has been from the start.
Yeah, that's always the one that they have the worst reaction to.
There is a reason for that, because the makers of that sauce have said it is not meant to be used as a sauce for topping things. It is meant to be used in giant pots of like jambalaya with a few drops to add smokiness and heat. It is not meant to be eaten as a topping.
Not meant for human consumption.
Oh, it is not. It tastes vile.
Mm.
It's disgusting. There's a metallic taste to it. It is gross. Like I will put up with a lot of heat if the sauce tastes good. It does not.
It's
It
one
is
of the
vile.
One of the things that makes me most impressed by Jenna Ortega,
Oh yeah.
because that was the first Hot Ones video I ever saw. And then I went on like a binge session of them. Watched every celebrity that I've ever even remotely paid attention to do Hot Ones. And Jenna Ortega remains to be the only one that held a straight face through the bomb.
You know one of my favorites is? Halle Berry. And she cleaned those wings till they were just bone. She didn't just take baby little bites.
She was
She
hungry.
she ate the full damn wings, and I was like, mad respect.
She was hungry.
She knows why she's there, and she understood the assignment.
Conan O'Brien's a funny one.
Yeah,
that video was
that smacked of trying to be funny to me.
I liked it. I thought he brought his own energy to it. I liked it.
And he brought Dr. What's his face?
Yep.
Dr. Arroyo.
That was good.
You
know what I found out this week?
What?
If you rearrange the letters in Coaster Enthusiast, you get absolutely nothing useful, but you will waste an hour of your life trying.
Trying to come up with anagrams that make sense.
Yeah. Same with Thuzy. It doesn't work.
Thuzy? Yeah.
There's nothing good.
Thuzy Quattro.
Nothing happens.
Thuzen Boyle.
Thuzen Boyle. Oh, God.
Stupid. Special guest star Thuzen Boyle.
That's a YouTube channel. That's a YouTube channel in the making.
100%, or an alter ego.
Yeah, it could be an alter ego.
Just put a wig on one of us and the Thuzen Boyle.
I don't trust
I
jellyfish.
dreamed a dream in time gone by.
That's so good.
Well, we did already establish that Fontaine was a roller coaster enthusiast.
Yes, she is. So is Tom Scott,
who is also dipping his toe back in the YouTube water.
He is. He put out a video asking for places in England. Unfortunately, I don't know very many, so I couldn't really help him. I'm glad that he's coming back, though.
Yeah.
He's that perfect, like...
But also has established boundaries and, you know, is not coming back at the same scale he was here originally at.
I almost thought the same thing of PewDiePie for a minute there. But I have an ulterior opinion of that because of the timing of things. Because he put out a video talking about how he'd lost respect for Google and YouTube, and he was really, really done with it. But it conveniently came at the same time that he officially dropped out of the top 10 most subscribed channels on YouTube.
There we go.
And it very much feels like that's not a coincidence.
I've just, you know, when you come to the conclusion that some content is just not meant for you? Yeah, that's one of them.
I grew up when PewDiePie was at his biggest when I was in, like, early high school. So he wasn't my favorite, but he was very much a presence in my media consumption. And it's just everyone watched PewDiePie.
I put him in the same category as Mr. Beast. Not for me.
Mr. Beast is definitely not for me. The problem with owning a haunted toaster is that you can never truly enjoy bagels
opposed to a
again.
haunted roller coaster.
No toaster.
Because the bagels would be haunted?
I suppose. Or maybe they would be
Cursed
by the spirit of the toaster.
Possessed, even.
If you say bagel 3 times, they appear.
A man with a bagel for a hand appears behind you in the mirror.
It's bloody bagel.
Ah! He's going to smear me to death.
I need a bagel now.
I will let you have the carbs.
Yes. I'm trying to eat healthier, but that's a lie. No, I'm not. I'm doing a lot more walking.
I'm trying to get back into my walking because I was going hardcore with the fitness leading up to Japan because I wanted to fit into tiny little Japanese roller coasters. And since I got back from Japan and had managed to maintain my weight during that entire time, I think I'd actually lost weight while I was over there. And then got home and sat on the couch for 2 months. And I've just come to the realization that, yes, and my genes have come to the realization that that is not sustainable and with remaining the same size. So I am back into it. Yeah.
I'm benefiting greatly from the fact that, so fun story. Obviously, when I got back from Ireland, it was all very unexpected that I was going to be back. So I just bought the first car that I could afford. And I went to give it a service, and it turned out it needed repairs that were more than what I paid for the car.
Of course.
So it ran out of rego. It actually runs out of rego the day that we're recording this. So I sold it for almost as much as I paid for it. So big deal at the end of the day. And I'm currently carless, which would not be a problem if I was in Sydney or Melbourne or anywhere else.
With a decent public transport network.
But I do not have a decent public transport network, which means I walk to work at the moment. Usually I bring my dog along with me and we walk together, and I am actually benefiting from that. I'm getting out, getting to work on time, enjoying the walk.
Lovely. How is Romy?
Romy is doing great. Since the last time, actually, I don't even know when the last time I did anything on YouTube was. Maybe YouTube hasn't even met Romy yet. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think the last time. Oh, actually, the last time you would have been your Luna Park.
Video. Yes, because I picked up Romy after that trip.
Yes.
So yes, I have a dog. His name is Romy. He is a greyhound. He took some time to settle in, but he has settled in now, and I also have a housemate now who also has a greyhound. So he's got a bestie.
Lovely.
And they're just living their best life.
Do they get on?
They do, like wildfire. And
awesome.
The interesting thing about greyhounds is that they are, despite what you'd expect because of what humans use greyhounds for, they are actually super lazy dogs.
Okay.
They do nothing all day.
Aside from being long boys.
They sleep. They do nothing at all. So Romy's usual day consists of getting up, eating his breakfast, going back to bed, sleeping for a little while I get ready for work. And then if he's coming to work with me, he walks to the office with me, comes to the office, goes to his bed in the office, and sleeps all day while I work. And then at 5 p.m., walks or gets a lift back home and gets his dinner and goes to bed.
Living the dream.
He really is. He doesn't do a whole lot, that boy.
He's probably sick of doing a whole lot.
Yeah. And I mean, you say that, but he's only 2. He was an early retiree. But yeah, I suppose 2 years a year and a half, maybe even only a year in the greyhound industry, that's enough for anybody.
Yeah.
I would say actually 0 years in the greyhound industry is enough for anybody.
Yeah. And now he spends his time chilling and I'm assuming eating the last Pringle because he can fit his head in there.
Oh yeah. I haven't even used him for that yet. I totally should. He could definitely reach the last Pringle.
100%.
Long boy.
Such a long boy.
He's a bit of a funny dog though. He wants to be friends with every single human, dog, anything else that he meets.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose because of the fact that the way they train greyhounds is small fluffy thing chase. I was very concerned when I went down to visit my sister in Canberra because that was the first time that I left him with my dad to be babysitted. He had not been separated from me in the 2 months since I'd adopted him. So I was leaving him with my dad, and I was like, he should be fine with all the other dogs. He should be fine with everything else. My dad has a cat. And I was like, I'm really not sure what to expect. He could very much want to kill the cat. So I think I should introduce him to the cat so that I can keep control of him and we can see where we go. And he was very, very interested in the cat. And I was like, oh, this is not good. Like he's tugging on the leash to try and meet this cat. And I took him up close and the cat smacked him across the face.
Oh.
And he was very startled by that. And I was like, okay, that was not what I was expecting. And we left them alone for a while. And then I was going to take him for a walk around the house to kind of show him around and get him accustomed to the space. And he came across the cat again. And once again, he was like, oh, cat. I want to say hello. I want to chase the cat. I want to, whatever he wanted to do. He was pulling and tugging the leash to go up to the cat. And he got close to the cat and got hiss, smack. And he never tried to talk to the cat again.
Oh, he just wants to be friendly.
I think he is honestly probably the best outcome because a cat's not going to end Romy. Romy could end a cat.
Yeah.
So the fact that
the cat is firmly establishing boundaries.
And we were walking him back through the hallway and the cat kind of jumped out from behind the laundry door and Romy did like the Scooby-Doo legs of like running away but your feet aren't going anywhere, kind of skedaddling.
Zoinks!
He was so startled. And I was like, this is probably the best outcome. I may have a dog that is now permanently terrified of cats, but that's probably a good thing ultimately.
Yeah.
Because we're never gonna have that problem again. So
yeah.
And that's the story of how Romy learned not to chase cats because they chased him instead.
They fight back.
Yes. Yes, he's doing really well. He's a very chill dog. He's super like friendly.
Romy could be a Toblerone.
He could be
He's
a
long boy.
Long boy. Long boy could be a Toblerone. He was probably he'll go around the party and get all the pats, and then he'll just be like, "All right, I'm done. I'm off to bed."
You could totally make like a Toblerone costume for him. He'd just be like a little chocolate stegosaurus.
Chocolate stegosaurus. I am seriously contemplating just making a cardboard triangle, painting Toblerone on it, and then just putting that around his torso.
Would 100% work.
Yeah, he could be a Toblerone. No, that doesn't work.
No. Toblerone.
Toblerone, yeah. Spiders invented jazz. That's not a proven fact, but I feel it.
We're gonna go with it.
I feel it in my bones.
They've got a lot of toes to tap.
I feel it in my bones.
That phrase always reminds me of Super Ted with the skeleton, the super gay skeleton.
I don't know what you're referring
Was
to.
Super Ted your era? No, Super Ted was my era.
Probably
so
before me.
That you're
yeah,
15 years my junior. So yeah, there's going to be a difference of cultural references there. Super Ted was a cartoon that used to air on ABC about a teddy bear that was brought to life by an alien who then took him to see Mother Nature, who gave him special powers, and then became a superhero teddy bear named Super Ted. But the villains of that show were all super camp and seemed, in retrospect, to be subsets of gay men. The lead was like an evil cowboy named Texas Pete, who was, in retrospect, kind of a leather daddy wearing chaps. Then there was Bulk, who was just kind of the fat oaf, and he was like your bear, your chub. And then there was Skeleton, who was just a super gay, lispy skeleton, who was your twink, really.
So Skeletor.
No. This was less, oh, I'm Skeletor. And this was, oh, Tex. Oh, I don't want to go in there.
Oh, that kind of.
Like really mincy kind of.
I think Skeletor's gay, though.
Oh, there's lots of creepy crawlies. Oh, 100%. He's wearing a harness.
Skeletor is a gay icon.
Skeletor is a pass-around party bottom. Let's be real. He's wearing a popper's mask. Hole wide open.
I love Skeletor.
What do we think of the new He-Man movie that's been in production?
There's a He-Man movie in production?
There's a live-action He-Man movie in production.
Oh, it better be as camp as the original.
I hope so, because even though it's a shit movie, I love the Dolph Lundgren version. It was formative for young gay Kieran.
2020's movies are missing a lot of camp.
It needs to lean into it.
We need some of that back.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and even that 80s version of Masters of the Universe, the Skeletor was gay. There's a scene where like Dolph Lundgren as He-Man is being whipped, and Skeletor's like, oh, as he's watching. If you watch it back, you'll see what I'm talking about. He's getting off. He's something's awakened in Skeletor as He-Man's being
that was not torture. That was just for his enjoyment.
This better not awaken anything in me.
This is a roller coaster podcast, so I suppose we should talk about what's going on with roller coasters nowadays.
I suppose that'd be the traditional thing to do.
Yeah, I guess. Whatever. What do you think Dreamworld is?
Don't want to alienate anybody.
What is Dreamworld on about? Is the question of the day. What are they?
this whole big announcement they're supposedly teasing.
Yeah, what the fuck are they talking about?
I think it's just obviously they're trying to flog this end of financial year deal, just so they can make whatever sales they can before the financial year's out and tease something. It'll probably be.
I don't think it's anything
I don't even think it'll be a major announcement. I don't even think it'll be the King Claw date announcement. We've learned from the past where they open when they're ready to open, and they're not going to try and hit a deadline.
Yeah, I do think that it's a dangerous game saying we've got a mega huge announcement and then not delivering it.
But I don't think it'll be a date of
I
opening.
don't think it's not going to be a new ride. It's not going to be opening dates or something like that.
I think it'll be probably announcing the entertainment retail shopping complex.
Could be.
If there's going to be any kind of major announcement.
Where were we at with that though? I thought they only just got permits and stuff.
I think it'll be like a concept reveal. I don't think it'll be like, obviously it's not construction or anything.
I mean, Movie World officially announced their hotel, and where are we at with that? Like,
yeah, good point. Well, they announced it before they'd even done proper community consultation, I think.
I'm really contemplating what I say here. Do I really want to come straight back and be the Movie World hater again? A1?
Just, lean into it. It's your brand at this point.
I was about to say Movie World making a weird decision. No. Shocker. No, I was almost sold on this tower climb idea that people seem to be latching on to, and then I remembered that the staircases inside the tower, you're talking about an unventilated
it's not going to be that
space that probably needs clearance permits.
And I would say, as far as a risk-averse Dreamworld is going to say, they would want the medical okay from the doctor of anyone attempting to participate in a tower climb.
I mean, you can do that if it's an upcharge separate attraction with limited spaces per day. You can get them to sign a waiver or whatever.
Yeah,
but like, I'm pretty sure because really that staircase inside the tower is designed for like just essential maintenance use. I feel like you probably need like clearance and working with heights permits just to be able to use it. It's probably not designed for anyone to actually functionally use. So I don't think that's it. Also, even if it was designed for people to functionally use, the interior of that tower is not ventilated. It's not.
Yeah. It wouldn't be for public facing use.
The tower's black now. So the inside, I imagine the interior of that tower on a Gold Coast summer day is like 50 plus degrees. It's got to be real unpleasant in there.
Oh, 100%.
So no, I don't think that's it either. I do not think that that's I'd love to do it. I'd love to climb the tower, but I don't think it's a possibility for an actual public thing that they could sell.
I think it'll be something to do with the retail complex kind of concept.
I
launch.
think it will be something to do with King Claw. Not an opening date, but like redevelopment going along with it, or whether they announce the actual lore behind it, or I don't know.
What I am appreciating about King Claw is that now Ocean Parade almost feels completely cohesive.
Yeah, the Claw was the one major attraction that was like, what does that have to do with the ocean?
That and Shockwave.
Yeah, I feel like Shockwave, at least initially, they had that because when they first opened Shockwave, and I remember this vaguely, it had the same problem as Buzzsaw. They kind of published all of its lore and its background story on like a website.
Right.
And then they kind of just didn't follow up.
Do any of that lore in the theming around it.
Yeah. And I remember something about Shockwave being like this submarine technology or something like that. So it was intended to be ocean themed. It just never delivered on that.
It just doesn't read that way.
Yeah, it's just very unsuccessfully themed. So yeah, that needs fixing too. But the claw was one where it's like, well, that's never had anything to do with ocean. It's a beast.
And meanwhile, can I just say how welcome the what do you call it? The shade structure repaint is. How glad I am that red is being painted over.
Yes.
Because it clashed with everything.
Yes. I agree.
Like that kind of structure, you want it to blend into the background. You don't want it to be a feature, you know?
You almost want it not to be seen.
Exactly. And the red was just like, look at me. But as with this whole sort of retheming, repainting that they're doing, is that they're turning Main Street and by extension Ocean Parade into more of this, like it goes from Victorian architecture into sort of like a Cape Cod style town on Ocean Parade, which works so much better. And now that King Claw is being built with this whole Cthulhu based concept, it sort of works as like an Innsmouth kind of New England town. It fits in perfectly.
It does. I'm very pleased to see, because I wasn't aware of until I saw Riley from That So Mid's video on, I think it was Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, where their Intamin gyro swing, or is it a Zampella? Whatever their pendulum ride is, has this incredibly themed Q/pre-show. I'm very pleased to see from the blueprints that Dreamworld has buildings and theming elements involved in the Q and the pre-show.
Yeah.
I'm kind of expecting...
They've even got like a little Cthulhu sculpture out the front of the queue.
I'm kind of expecting something of similar... Maybe not quite on the same level as what Fiesta Texas have done, because they've done something absolutely incredible with theirs, but like some level of real actual attempt at a theming. And theming a flat ride is not an easy thing to do.
No.
Because repetitive motion, it's not like you can really do a whole lot with that. So I'm excited.
Like it, yeah, me too.
I'm
excited for Ocean Parade to feel cohesive again, instead of just a lot of slapdash things mushed together.
I have high expectations. King Claw.
Now, if only we can get rid of the AI slop images that are on the side of the arcade.
Yes. AI slop.
Yeah.
So tempting, though.
No.
I will admit,
you don't feed the plagiarism machine.
I am an AI user. That is because I think it is a valuable thing to learn how to use AI. And I found it interesting at learning where its limits are. Because once it tries to do something actually to create something fully, that's when it fails dramatically. Because like if you ask it to create an illustration, it doesn't know how hands work, or it doesn't know how text works in it.
But not only that, you ask it to create an illustration, you're like, oh, I like this, except for this one part. Can you change that one part? It can't.
Yeah,
it just creates a completely new image.
It can't fix that, yeah. But it's interesting how it can help you in terms of structuring things. If you recognize that you have to do the creative work yourself, but you want framework, or you want guidance on certain elements of it, it actually can be a very valuable tool. And I'm very interested to see where it will go in the future
I'm
of
just
not just creative industries, but like industries that have to output, you know, it's going to do a whole lot for automation, for automatable tasks. Unfortunately, it is not great for the environment.
and also they're saying that it's going to do so much. Oh, it'll get you to free up time so that you can do other more important things. No, they're just going to use it so that they can outsource your job to a machine.
Which is why I think it's important to learn how to use it properly.
Yeah, I am not a fan. Like, people say, "Oh, it's really helpful." I'm like, just admit you can't write an email by yourself, dudes. I'm not
yeah,
on board.
don't use AI like that. Don't
It's
ask it
like,
to
at this
write.
point, I'm embarrassed for people who have to use it.
Don't do the whole write me an essay, write me an email, blah 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 blah. Like that's
Yeah.
not what it's good at, because it's literally just it's just text generation. It's not smart. It's not an intelligence. It's not. It doesn't think.
It's an aggregator.
It's literally just pulling together everything it knows from text generated from around the internet and pumping out a response based on what it's learned from all of that. So,
Which is often filled with misinformation and incorrect
yes.
information.
Rule number 1 of AI, don't ask it for facts. Rule number 2 of AI, don't ask it to create the finished product.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It's a helpful tool in a lot of cases, but it's not the AI that you see in movies. That's not what this is. Anyway,
No.
shame on Dreamworld for making images with AI fully. That's not
100%.
That's not okay, because in that case also it's just because you're refusing to pay a graphic artist.
Exactly. It says we're too cheap to actually pay an artist to do something. We don't have the budget.
For me, I think the place that AI has right now is those automatable tasks, data entry, that sort of thing. The things that you have to do in your regular day-to-day job that are mundane and repetitive, that you could avoid and be spending more time on the stuff that involves human thought, that involves creativity. And like in my role, that's what I use it quite a bit for. Like, I need this formatted a particular way. I've got all the information. I've done all the work. Drop it in ChatGPT. Format it this way for me. Done. But it's a problem when you're seeing. I know Emerald Park did it while I was there too. And they generated an ad using AI, and it was so obviously AI because they made another common AI mistake, asking it to generate roller coaster track. It doesn't.
Oh, gosh.
It doesn't get roller coaster track. It really fucking doesn't understand roller coaster track, in my experience. There's something about like the framework and the repetitive pattern of roller coaster track that really confuses AI. It doesn't get what's going on.
Well, because, it just would mush it all up. It's like details like hands.
Yeah. Well, they
Or
did
like
this.
the amount of teeth people have in their head.
I don't like shit talking Emerald Park, because in terms of the inner workings of Emerald Park, it's probably one of my favorite parks that I've ever been involved with. Probably my favorite park that I've ever been involved with intimately. But they were, when they were launching Fina Force and the Quest, they did like a promotion where there were, I don't remember if they were like slushies or something like that were flavored and themed to both of the coasters. So a red one for Fina Force and a blue one for Quest.
Right.
and they generated a like a poster track going through this like surreal background kind of thing, and the Phenaforce track looked just demented. It didn't look like any poster track that was real.
Mm.
It looked stupid, and it was like so obvious. You look at it and you'd be like, you used AI. It's so obviously AI, and I can see that because of how stupid this looks.
I remember seeing something doing the rounds of the internet talking about how someone had to answer a question on a job application. It was like, can you describe specific ways you've integrated AI tools into your development workflow? Please include examples. And the person just included the following. They just said, there is a monster in the forest and it speaks with 1,000 voices. It will answer any question you pose it. It will offer insight to any idea. It will help you. It will thank you. It will never bid you leave. It will even tell you of the darkest arts if you know precisely how to ask. It feels no joy and no sorrow. It knows no right and no wrong. It knows not truth from lie, though it speaks them all the same. It offers its services freely to any passerby, and many will tell you they find great value in its conversation. You simply must visit the monster. I always just ask the monster. There are those who know these forests well. They will tell you that freely offered doesn't mean it has no price. For when the next traveler passes by, the monster speaks with 1,001 voices, and when you dream you see the monster, and the monster wears your face.
Damn. Poetic.
Right? I love it.
Profound. I love it.
But yes, enough of me getting on my high horse about AI.
Yeah, look, there's a lot wrong with it. A lot wrong with it. But it's the direction that technology is going. I'd like, hopefully, that we can have more of an input into the ethics of it. But
because there are a lot of ethical issues with it.
There are a lot of ethical issues with it.
The fact that they train it on copyrighted material.
Yes. Which, I mean, the debate with that one is, for example, is Google Images unethical?
I think the idea with Google Images is that if used correctly, it should attribute the source of the image.
But how many times do you look at the source?
Yeah. But also, if you use an image off Google Images for use in a commercial project, and you're going to get sued if it's someone's copyrighted work.
Which is an ethical thing that we've learned along the way.
You can't sue AI.
Yeah. And we've learned that along the way. You can sue AI. You can sue OpenAI or XAI or
Google, and you'll see how well that does.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're not likely to be very successful, but yeah.
No.
Good. Yeah, it's interesting to see where it's going to go. I think I'm teaching myself how to use it because I think that maybe there's a pessimist in me that says whether or not we deal with these ethical issues 10 years down the line, it's going to be essential to know how to use it anyway. The optimist in me, the optimist in me says that maybe we can find a way to use it while dealing with those ethical issues. And yeah, I think I work in industries where content generation, whether that's creative content or just pumping out a report or whatever, kind of what I do. So if eventually I'm going to be out of a job if I don't know how to use AI and the 19-year-old down the road does.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I just don't think that it's in too much infancy for you to be to actually have any value in trying to train yourself on how to use it when it doesn't work correctly.
I've seen too many good outputs from some of my prompts to think that that's the case. There's
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
There's sometimes that it does a very good job of what it does. And again, you got to know that limit of it's not creative. It doesn't have feelings. It can't produce something nuanced.
But again, and you can't. That's the thing. You can create something one-off, but you can't alter that thing.
But that's where the human element comes in, and that's why I think AI is a tool, not a be-all and end-all. If you can output something and then recognize, oh, it's made a couple of mistakes, but that's fine. I'll just copy that and then fix up those couple of mistakes myself. It's a shortcut essentially. It's like using a calculator for a maths problem. Like it'll put you on the. It'll cut out a whole lot of working out, but you're ultimately still the one who's got to figure everything out around it and put the answer in the correct place.
Anywho,
yeah.
Moving on.
Let's
talk about something we haven't talked about.
It was a deep one.
About a certain, lovely crown that's now sitting atop a new person's head.
Oh God. Technically,
you didn't think we weren't going to talk about this?
Technically, no, it's not yet. Because are we going to talk about the fact that all the while there was a roller coaster neither of us knew about?
That's SBNO, my friend.
No. I'm talking about the one at the ridges in the Hunter Valley.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It's SBNO?
It's SBNO.
No, they just opened it. RCDB says operating.
You know what I think we need to do? We need to come back to this during business hours. We need to get on a call with Ridges Hunter Valley to confirm this.
We should. RCDB says operating since sometime between 2022 and 2024.
It is not 2024 anymore.
Yes, but it says operating since sometime between 2022 and 2024. So
from the looks of things, it does not appear to be operational.
Interesting. Hold on.
And I would like to get on the phone to confirm this.
I would like to, yes. Let me see. So the pedal-powered roller coasters that we're talking about, they're Chinese made. And I don't actually know what company makes them, but they are made in China.
And they also do not offer any imagery of it on their website or on their booking.com page at all.
There are a couple of images of it
I feel like if that was,
dare I say, parks.
Yeah, of someone who took a photo of it and it was under a giant dust cover.
Yeah, they've got a dust cover on the train, yeah.
Yeah.
And it does look like with there's rust patterns and wear in the track that seems to show that it's operated fairly consistently. Or at least a lot.
From the looks of it looked to me like it was standing but not operating. And until someone can tell me otherwise, or until I can get confirmation from Ridges Hunter Valley.
Here's my take on this, because this is what I did when my goal was to ride every coaster in Australia. RCDB is correct until proven otherwise.
Okay.
So until we can
Well,
get riches, until we can
I
get riches
corrected things that were on
on the
Coast
line
account
to
that were
confirm
incorrect.
that it's not operating, then both of us are still missing the push pedal roller coaster. Which also, I just want to say, probably neither of us will ever get.
I don't think we'll ever get it because I don't think it's operational.
I don't think we'll ever get it because I don't think those things fit adults.
Yeah, well, that's, you know.
One of them up close.
I just.
But I'm 99% sure that those cars in that little push pedal roller coaster are far too. They're like the same as those little Gerstlauer mini coasters, like the ones they've got at the one they've got at Connieland, where you couldn't fit in it if you tried. I still want to go and just document it, but I doubt it's rideable for us.
No. Yeah, I don't think it's even an option.
Congratulations, you did
my
gain the
opinion
crown.
on my observations. My opinion from my observations is it looks like it's SBNO. But until we can confirm that, we do not know.
However, that coaster aside, you did gain the crown. I was fucked over a little bit by Threadbow, which put me in.
So tell more details in when it comes to that.
So, the weekend that we went to Luna Park Sydney together, and as was teased in your video, you were a matter of a couple of coasters away from completion. I was also a couple of coasters away from completion. My only ones that I didn't have were the Alpine Coaster at Threadbow and Kansas Twister. Because Kansas Twister had been closed during my visit to Movie World. So I was supposed to go the next day after my visit to Luna Park down to Threadbow and ride the Alpine Coaster. And two things fucked me over. First of all, YouTube didn't transfer me money on time, as they usually would, which I was relying on to get a tank of fuel and get down there because at the time I was running on a very shoestring budget. And at the same time, because of low demand, the Alpine Coaster's closing hours were brought forward. So
and that's a very tiny window as it is.
It was a very tiny window as it was, and I was really hoping to get out of there pretty early, so that I could get down there as soon as possible, get in a couple of rides, and then I needed to leave from there because I was going to see my family in Canberra. So I needed to get in and out basically. And so getting stranded without basically any money was a bad start. But I was still like, it'll be open till 4 or 5 or whatever it was supposed to be open till. And if I have to end up driving in the dark, I will. It's fine. I've done worse things for credits. And they had low demand, and so they brought forward the closing hours. And by the time I got that money through and could get out of Sydney and get that tank of fuel that I needed and everything like that, I wouldn't have even I would have made it, but with like 20 minutes. So
that sucks.
Like, maybe I could have gone and got one ride. I paid for 3. But even then, that's like 20 minutes is like if I face traffic on the way out of Sydney, that's gone. So I was like, right, well, I'll just go straight to Canberra. I can't do that. So yeah, I never got the Alpine Coaster. Still don't have Kansas Twister either.
Yeah, Kansas Twister's a hard one. I fully expected that I wasn't going to get it, and it was just through dumb luck that the second day I was up there, both trains were running. You can hear it in my voice where I almost have a meltdown when I saw that it was open.
Yeah. I will be shocked if I get both sides, even on my next trip up there.
Yeah, it seems like it's rare that they run both sides.
I'm mad at that, by the way. That's so stupid. That's not.
It's just. And also, what's the point of a dueling coaster that doesn't duel?
Exactly. Why get a dueling coaster? I should have seen this coming. We really should have seen this coming. From the park that runs one train on most things most of the year, do we really expect anything else of them if they built a dueling coaster?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so annoying because, look, as much as I hate it, running one train on things, I can almost understand. Because you can run maintenance on the other train, and it doesn't affect people's experience other than the fact that the lines are longer. You're still riding the same ride, you're just waiting longer for it. But I don't get why they would do the same thing on Kansas Twister. Because the appeal of that ride is the fact that it duels.
Yeah. It's part of the thrill is that you see the other train running alongside you. You are racing. Its purpose is to race coasters.
Not having both trains running actually does impact the ride experience on Kansas Twister. Like
100%.
I really hoped that they would do better with it, but it appears not. It appears that
yes.
Like my experience aside, because neither side was running on my visit, and I assume that's just maintenance issues. That happens. But yeah, my experience aside, it seems like a lot of people have gone there and found just one side operating. Why build that kind of ride?
What was the reason? What was the reason?
Why build that kind of ride at all? It negates, and I've taken this video down by now, but it negates the point that I made that I was like, oh, Flight of the Wicked Witch was a bad choice because of capacity reasons. But Kansas Twister was a better choice, but I still don't think it was quite right because it doesn't offer the substantial enough ride experience for the theming that they were going for. But now that point's negated because they don't run both trains half the time, so it also has the capacity problem. Because it's only like a 20-seat, 16, 18, 20-seat family coaster. It doesn't meet the capacity demands of a park of that size during its peak seasons.
Yeah. It's like I don't also understand. It's like it doesn't take really. Why does it? What is the benefits of only running one train? Like, it doesn't take less manpower. Do you need separate operators? Or I this is actually where I don't know.
I'm actually not sure either. Potentially, it definitely needs separate attendants.
Yeah.
But that's theoretically the same as when you run a big coaster
so it's like a staffing issue.
That's theoretically the same as when you run a big coaster like DC Rivals. DC Rivals can run with 3 staff members. In peak season, you probably add a 4th or a 5th.
Or you got people who have to man the queue. You've got someone in the booth. You've got probably 2 people running the train itself, like checking restraints.
Well, at bare bones, like how many could you theoretically run it with if you had absolutely bare minimum staff? You need one operator, one attendant on each side.
Yeah.
So you could run it with 3. I don't know if they have rules that say they have to have someone on the queue or someone on whatever. But like it's bizarre that they would choose to do that, because I don't think when you were there and they were only running one side, was the other train just on the track in the station?
Yeah.
But they're not doing anything of benefit with the other side. They're not like maintaining the train or anything.
No.
So why?
It was just sitting in the barn.
So why not run it?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
And now I'm trying to remember sort of where the operator booth is and whether it runs both.
Yeah,
And
I
can't
haven't seen it up close.
recall.
I've only the only dueling coasters that I'm familiar with and have like been there and seen it operating is Battlestar Galactica. And obviously, that's a completely different scenario because they're 2 very, very different.
Well, one's a sit-down coaster and one's an invert.
Yeah, so they obviously
correct?
have 2 completely different operating panels and attendants and everything. But that's a very different situation compared to a ride where the 2 trains and tracks are essentially identical.
Mm.
Yeah,
I'm just going back through my phone to see if I can find footage of Kansas Twister. See if I can see the ride booth. Here we are.
I will say, and I tried to take a break from
there
the
is
whole a theme park criticism thing. Something that I've noticed in my absence is that I've seen a lot of video titles from Theme Park Ogre along the lines of "Movie World made a big mistake," and "Movie World have done this wrong." I've realized that the way I said that may sound like I'm accusing him of copying me, which no, that's the opposite of what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it doesn't seem like much has changed in my absence.
Okay, it looks like there are 2 operator booths.
Okay, there are 2 operator booths. But surely with a ride like that, I feel like there would have to be a mode they could run it on. Because theoretically the dispatches are synchronized. So I can't imagine that they're doing that by asking 2 operators to press the buttons at the same time.
That I don't know enough about.
I'd imagine it's one operator pressing the buttons to dispatch both trains. So,
well, by the looks of things, it's 2 different control panels so one on each side of the track.
Well, there would have to be 2 different. There would have to be 2 separate control panels, because if one track is out of operation, you have to be able to operate the other. So that makes sense. But I feel like in 2, but when you're on 2 train ops, it should only be one of those control panels that's controlling the whole thing. I don't think it's necessary to have 2 operators doing everything for both for each track. I think that's more of there's one there for each track if you need it.
There's an operator behind each panel in this footage that I'm looking at.
Yeah. Did either operator ever leave the booth?
That I don't remember enough about, because I was more excited that I was getting on the second train. And the first time I rode it was in the pouring rain, so I wasn't really paying attention to that.
Because I just can't... It doesn't... From everything that I know about ride operations, it doesn't sit right with me that it would be that you have to have an operator dispatching both trains at the same time. But it sounds more like to me is that maybe you've got a second operator there in the second booth doing an all clear.
posting a screen grab into chat. Just a second. How do I do this on the phone?
Interesting choice.
I don't know how to bring up the chat within
Look,
on the phone
either
app.
way, a dueling coaster for Movie World was a bad choice.
Oh, there we go.
I think if
Found it.
I'm going to be real generous and say Movie World's good at things. Operations is not one of them, and dueling coasters require good operations. Hold
Yes, 100%.
I'm looking at this screen grab right now. Okay, so those are at the rear of the train. Okay. Is there a panel at the front of the trains?
I don't think so.
Okay, but
I think it's just where you've got the attendants giving the thumbs up to the operators at the booth.
Okay, and do they have like a smaller panel just to have an all clear button?
That I don't remember.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Those do. I'm looking at this screen grab, and I'm very aware that our audience can't see it, but it does indeed. And I'm very aware that most of our audience probably knows the layout of the station better than I do. It does indeed look like both of those are full scale operator panels on either side, which I expected. There should be.
There
an operator
does appear to be a booth that is between both of the tracks at the front.
Booth between the tracks at the front. Okay, that's interesting.
So I'm just gonna screen grab this.
That's very interesting. What I would have expected is an operator booth potentially on either side at the front, and then
adding this in chat as well.
And then your smaller attendant booths. Okay. Oh yeah, and we can't really see into that, so it's hard to see what the purpose of that booth is. Interesting. I'm not going to pretend to know how that works then, because
neither.
I understand why there's an operator booth on either side, because again, if only yellow's running, then you want your operator booth on yellow, and if vice versa. But I don't see why you'd need an operator unless maybe one of those panels is on like an operator mode and the other's just on an attendant mode. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And also being that I'm not as experienced with being a theme park ride op, I just don't know enough about it.
It just doesn't make sense to me that you should need to have an operator on both sides if your goal is to run both sides simultaneously. You should need an attendant on both sides, because obviously lap bars need to be checked. And you need to have someone signaling an all clear. You're good to go. And the operator is just the operator. They're just the person in charge of the whole operation. They're just they're the ones that actually press the buttons to begin the ride cycle. If you have two people doing that, it's just too many cooks.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
You're just overcomplicating the process. So I'm interested to see how that works. I'm sure I will find out when I eventually get back up to Movie World. I'm yet to see a dueling coaster that is effectively dueling, because Battlestar Galactica is.
I'm just trying to think what other dueling coasters did I see any on my trip to Japan. No, because the Nagashima Spyland Wild Mice, only one side was operating, so that doesn't count.
It sounds like that's a frequent thing.
Yeah, it does not. Yeah. There was only, I think, 2 roller coasters we couldn't do, and that was one of the twin wild mice and it's not really a roller coaster, the Intamin free fall.
So everything else was running at Nagashima.
from memory, unless I'm forgetting something. Let me
The
look at my coaster count app.
Schwarzkopf shuttle loop
Yep, that was
is
running.
running. Okay.
Yeah, got that credit.
I had heard rumors that it was fairly inconsistent.
Was good fun.
How many credits are you up to after that trip?
119.
Nice. More
Yeah.
than me.
I'm quite. Really?
162.
And 119.
Oh, 119. Okay.
Yes.
I thought you said 190.
No.
Okay.
That would be. Oh my gosh. No, didn't quite get there. Yeah, 119 as in teen.
Okay, 119. Yeah. No, I'm still at 162. My most recent credit is still Flash Speed Force.
Oh, okay, right. Where are we? Nagashima Spa Land. Yeah, I got 11 credits. Yeah, the free fall was down. Oh, the Ultra Twister was down.
Yes. I believe that's
that's the one.
Most likely getting removed from what I've heard.
Well, yeah, Heidi had her heart set on riding an Ultra Twister, and so on one of sort of our spare days where it was just like I was doing one thing and she was free to do another thing, she went out to what's it called, Brazilian Park Highland or whatever it's called, specifically to ride their Ultra Twister.
Yeah, fair enough. I think actually she was texting me on that day.
Yeah, because and I had other plans. I think that was my Kyoto day. Where I went to Kyoto, I was like, okay, I've done this, and then decided to go to Hirakata Park for the last 2 hours of opening.
Fair.
And still managed to get all the credits that were operating.
I don't know when my next credit trip will be.
I will be doing a lot of saving money. And so I'm in a more financially secure position because I have, spent a lot more than I planned on doing. And yeah, I would just rather have a nice savings buffer before I start booking another holiday.
I have,
because yeah, I don't like this whole poor thing.
I have 2 hints to give people about what I'm planning next. First hint is cdb.com. The second hint is that when you don't succeed at something, you should try again.
Hey.
Those are my 2 hints.
Cool.
A very cryptic and poetic person.
The mystery. It's the way to be.
Yes.
Making poetry, art. More
than you know.
Music.
More than you know. Hint, hint.
Unlock the Thuzen boil within.
The Thuzen boil. I really want to use that as like a director's name or something like that.
A drag name. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Thuzen Boyle.
Oh god. It's the worst drag name though.
A roller coaster enthusiast themed drag name.
What would a roller coaster themed drag queen wear?
I'm picturing like a little sort of bolero sort of, neck adornment in the shape of coaster track.
Okay.
With a little fascinator of a coaster car.
I think we're too weird. I think they would go as a coaster. For example, Rita at Alton Towers.
Oh, okay, yep.
Like I'm imagining.
Remember when I couldn't remember what Rita's name was, and I thought it was like Karen?
I'm imagining like because I've got to give a shout out. Of course, we've got to talk about Queen. In the Discord. and who has also been my friend on Instagram for a while, Red Queen. She
yes.
does roller coaster personification art. I don't know if it's public on her Instagram. If you can check it out there, I don't know. She shared a lot of it on my Discord. So
because I don't have an Instagram account, I generally can't
I
view
am
things on Instagram.
checking
It
it
makes me log in, and
I'm logged into the wrong Instagram account. I can't check it now. She has shared a lot of it on Discord, but that's what I'm kind of imagining. Like, not necessarily dressing up as a roller coaster, but a personification of
as a character that
specific roller coaster. Yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Like, are you there when we played the Alton Towers romance RPG game?
This vaguely rings a bell. Is this like the I Love You, Colonel Sanders, but for Alton Towers?
It was that vibe.
The dating simulator kind of thing?
Yeah, it was like a dating sim. Yeah, we played it on the Discord on stream, and
it does ring a bell.
And yeah, it's like a coaster dating sim. Yeah, all of the coasters are personified. You play as the Smiler.
I was going to say I can picture what the Smiler looks like.
Yeah, you play as the Smiler, and like the storyline is that you are asked by the owner of the park to come up with an idea for a new roller coaster, and you start going around and discussing with the other coasters which are all personified, obviously, at the park, like ideas and that sort of thing. And through that process, like, you meet the other coasters and you get to know them, and then eventually you can build a romance with one of them.
Right.
And it's bizarre, but it was a lot of fun.
I mean, I've played Hooked on You, the Dead by Daylight dating simulator, so
yeah. It was
I'm assuming it's on that level of weird.
It was a weird game. It was a weird game, but we got very into it.
No, you're gonna ruin things with Rita.
Yeah. We actually ended up.
You've laid all this groundwork. Okay.
Rita was hot. I'm just gonna say it. Rita's hot.
What kind of person was Rita? Having no concept of what the theming of the ride is, or as outside of the name,
very
and what their personification of it was.
Motor racing themed. So, like, picture your racing jacket / jumpsuit.
Right.
Very
checkered flag material kind of thing.
Yeah.
Season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Very grid girl kind of persona. They actually kind of nailed a lot of the coasters at Alton Towers. From my experience, from my one day at Alton Towers, they nailed
it. How do you date Nemesis? Is it like dating a giant unspeakable horror?
You know, I actually don't remember what Nemesis looked like in the game, but
a Lovecraftian elder god.
There was enough of a fantasy element to the game that they probably were a monster.
The kind of game that would bring out the monster fuckers.
No one ever wants to bring out the monster fuckers.
Them and their werewolf boyfriends. Dracula's the perfect boyfriend. I can fix him.
God, are we about to do like a Twilight parody?
Oh God, let's not.
Trust
Oh
jellyfish.
gosh, we've been going at this for almost 2 hours.
Yes, we have been doing this for nearly 2
A
hours.
trust
I
jellyfish.
don't trust jellyfish.
Oh, you don't trust them?
I don't
Okay.
trust them.
When you said a trust jellyfish, I'm like, what kind of animal is this? It's just like the jellyfish that holds a lot of
Trust
secrets.
jellyfish. No, I don't trust them. I can't trust something with no bones.
Ow, my bones.
You got a lot of
Hi, we've met
chutzpah for
before.
something.
I'm Phoebe. I've got hollow bones.
You got a lot of chutzpah for something with no bones.
For someone without a spine, you've certainly got balls.
Can you imagine being a jellyfish?
Just absorbing nutrients from your prey that you caught in your tentacles.
Not doing much else. Pretty sure, like
Just bloop, bloop.
Like some of them don't even
jellyfish
blump.
make sounds, but I'm just
Some of them don't even blump blump. They just like go with the currents. Just
floating,
drifting,
moisturized, unbothered.
You're just a drifting mass of gelatinous being.
Living the dream.
No taxes.
Been there.
No concerns about the climate. Now. No daily news bulletins about Trump.
No.
None of that. Just
No
gelatinous mass. Just drifting on the current. Absorbing nutrients.
Washing up on the shore of the beach.
Yeah, getting washed up, stinging some kid.
Being poked by sticks.
Yeah. You sting some 12-year-old kid. They get vinegar poured on them.
Having a toddler try and pick you up.
Yeah.
Jacinta, put that down.
Yeah. Ruin some family's holiday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I want to be a jellyfish now. Decided I trust them.
Would there be any kind of sentience there?
Honestly, the less sentience, the better.
Just make me exist without these feelings.
I don't need internal monologue or anything like that.
Just give me nutrients and I'm happy.
If I can just exist, it'd be great.
Just let me catch my tiny fish.
All right, Kieran.
Yes.
If you could go to one theme park in the world right now, what would it be? Now that you've been to Japan and Korea and ticked most of those off.
Are we talking like without any kind of issues involving travel or geopolitics and
let's imagine
whatnot? Just
every politician is now completely awesome.
okay.
So every country loves everybody. You have infinite money and you don't have to work. So you have infinite time. And you won't die because you have infinite time.
Sure.
Time, money, geopolitics, not an issue. Where are you going?
My first choice is where I'm going.
Yes.
Well, my number one bucket coaster is Gwazi.
Okay.
But Busch Gardens Tampa is not what I would call like the park I'm most curious about. So if I'm going just for one roller coaster, it would be Busch Gardens Tampa. But as far as a park goes,
I'm more interested in the park than the coaster.
I really want to go to Europa.
Europa, yeah. I can highly recommend. I
Yeah,
need to go back
that looks really
because
cool.
I did only one day there because that entire trip was improvised.
Right.
So
That looks like a multi-day
it is
park. Like you need more than one day.
You couldn't. Like, I wasn't even really trying, but you couldn't fit that whole park into a day if you tried. There's 14 coasters. I knew I wasn't going to get through all 14, so I focused on the ones I really wanted to and did a couple extras, and I did 6 or 7?
I couldn't believe that Heidi and I managed to do 11 different coasters at Nagashima Spa Land in one day.
Were the lines long?
Though in certain parts, but we got fast passes where it was ridiculous. So we bought fast passes for both times for Steel Dragon 2000.
See, with no fast passes and with like not even really trying, I did like 6 or 7 coasters at Europa Park, and I actually did 2 laps on Voltron. So
Voltron, I don't know if I've remained completely spoilerless because I obviously know about sort of the fact that there is a turntable and there's like the big sort of.
Okay, so you're not looking for spoilers in terms of coaster elements, not plot.
I've not read anything about plot.
Okay. I will say there's not really a plot.
Okay. I've seen like screen grabs and like split-second video of like the screen with all the lightning bolts.
Yeah, so the theming is really, really good, but it's not like narrative theming. It's like
Sure.
the
sort of like Jungle Rush is not narrative.
Yeah,
theming.
like it's like it establishes kind of a backstory, but not like the ride doesn't contain a narrative.
Sure.
Yeah, but I won't spoil anything in terms of elements because that ride is insane. It is.
Yeah, I tend to not read up too much as far as what the layout of a roller coaster is because I just enjoy the surprise of being on it. The only time I've sort of really sort of analyzed is because I've watched Iron Gwazi videos over and over.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. I'm interested that that Gwazi is your number one bucket list coaster. You've now been on an RMC, haven't you? You've been on Hakuge.
I have.
Yeah.
2, in fact.
Hakuge and Skull and Hearty.
Skull and Hearty.
It's interesting that it's Gwazi.
Yeah. Hakuge is my number 1.
Yeah, I figured it would be up there.
It was incredible. Skull and Hearty was fun, but the train design was very uncomfortable.
It does look. The Raptor train does not look great.
It's just the way you've got to sit, and then you have to like your knee. So there's like this thing. The track is between your legs.
Yeah,
and it's not like you're elevated above the track. It's like it's hard to explain, but like
I'm picturing it.
So the way that the harness works is your knees have to be pushed together, but your feet are kept apart. And that's a very awkward position to ride in.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I knew that your feet were kind of down, but I figured it was more the footwells at either side of the track and the seat is just above it.
Yes, but in order to sit in the seat and the harness to come down properly, your thighs and knees have to be pushed together. Whereas
that's
your feet
bizarre.
are definitely apart. So that's a very awkward way to sit.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
And it's very uncomfortable.
Why Gwazi and not Vengeance?
I don't know what it is about Vengeance, but Vengeance for some reason just doesn't turn my crank in the same way.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I could not put it down to any one thing, but there's just something about the layout of Gwazi that just looks so much more thrilling to me.
Okay. Like I'm not judging. I think as someone who has deliberated over what the best coaster in the United States is, That's a constant debate that rages in the back of my head, Steve versus Quasi. So I'm very interested by anyone who actually does have an opinion on that, particularly the people who haven't been on those and who have picked one that is more exciting to them than the other. I'm always interested to hear why.
I know there's something especially about that first drop where it just goes down into that spider's web of, track that's just, it looks more intimidating. Whereas, I don't know, there's just something about the layout of Steel Vengeance that's just, I don't know, it feels, I don't know, more linear. I'm trying to think of the right word. It doesn't feel like I'm going, like, diving into the pits of hell kind of thing,
Yeah. I'm really enjoying this episode of Total Baloney.
So am I. It's good to be back.
It's very good to be back. We've been going for a very long time, and yet somehow I'm still like, I'm just enjoying the hell out of this.
Yeah. It's amazing what happens when friends get to, hang out.
Yes. It's
social interaction. What's this?
Yeah. Oh my God, we're talking to each other.
Well, putting the world to right.
Yeah, Total Baloney's back. The animals are back. The birds are chirping.
Thusen Boyle.
Well, the Thusen Boyle
doing her thing.
Has released a new album. The world has righted itself.
Yeah. Big shout out to Blake from Park Chat, who also gave a shout out to Total Baloney on my latest episode.
Love that. He actually was messaging me throughout my absence, asking when Total Baloney was going to come back. Which is part of the reason that we're back today, actually. Because he did send me a message and say, he said, when is it coming back? And he just messaged me at the right time where I was like, you know what? I actually could do just a sit down, casual chat kind of piece of content right now. That's
the thing. And that's always been the most fun about Total Baloney, is the complete lack of game plan that goes into us doing an episode.
Yes, and I will emphasize to the audience, we haven't done an episode in months, and there was zero discussion about what we were talking about coming into this one either.
It was like, do you want to do a new Baloney? Yeah, sure. What time? Monday? Sure. That was the planning. There was no bullet point list of things to talk about.
There's no discussion topics. And that's what I like about it. And look, maybe some people don't like that about it. I know Blake and a number of other people do like that about it, that it's literally just go with the flow and just our chemistry is the entire focus of it.
And I think that's the appeal.
Yep. I love that. I will always love it.
And it's the only roller coaster podcast that you'll ever encounter that talks about Skeletor being a pass around party boy.
And proudly so. That's a claim to fame that I am very proud to have.
Absolutely.
The one and only. I suppose that we should probably pull it there.
Sure.
It has been.
Where can they find you, Jake?
Over 2 hours. They can find me at Maloney's Coasters on YouTube. Right now, you will see very much nothing on that channel. There are some things coming. Do I want to tell you what those things are? No, I don't. There's things coming.
Sure.
I'm going to be doing some more fun stuff. So you can find me at YouTube at Maloney's Coasters. And that's about all I'm active on at the moment. So, oh yeah, you can also, if you're a creator and you are in need of footage of coasters, particularly in Australia. You can find me at Maloney's Coasters Off-Ride Footage. I post there about once a week, just off-ride footage of coasters that I have been on or experienced. And you're free to use that as long as you credit me in the description. Where can they find you, Kieran?
You can find me at Ejector Beartime on YouTube. You can also find me at Ejector Beartime Sidetracked on YouTube, where you can see all my non-coaster related side quest adventures. I am also on Blue Sky at ejectorbeartime.bsky.social, where you'll see me occasionally posting about my content or whatever other coaster-related musings I might have.
Lovely. Well, we will see you in the next episode. I'm still not sure when I'm going to release this episode, so I don't know when that episode will be. But whenever it will be, we will see you there.
I dare say.
And in the meantime, this has been
a total bunch
of
total baloney.
What a
bunch.
Fucking bunch.
What a fucking bunch. I don't.